Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've recorded a video, but I've just posted an article on my website. It's called Is the Bible Relevant Today? And I just wanted to put a little video in addition to that post. This post came about from an exchange that I've been having with a YouTube user, and she's put a post up on her site, and I wanted to respond, but I just barely could take the first paragraph where she was saying that the Bible and God is not relevant for modern democracies and so on and so forth. So though this post is really just the first part of a response to her post, um, that was a result of another video that I had posted earlier on same-sex marriage. I believe that this question is important and it needs to be answered. Now, I'm not a Bible scholar. I don't have an MBA or a PhD or a doctorate in theological studies. I've not gone to great seminaries, nothing. All I have is my Bible, which is right here. And as you can see, it's kind of falling apart on me a little bit, but that's all it is. My knowledge comes from the simple reading of the Bible and just prayer and having what I've stated in the post, which is one, an attitude of humility, and two, a little bit of faith. See, the thing is, if you've completely rejected the idea that God exists, and if you look at the Bible as just another book which is made up of fairy tales and made up stories by a couple of delusional people, then all the stuff that I have said in the post and everything else that you might read anywhere, including the Bible, well, it won't make an impact because you've already counted it out. You're thinking to yourself that, oh, I'm so educated, I've got so much knowledge, and I'm this and I'm that, and science has proven this and that. If you think like that and give no chance to the possibility of believing that God exists, the possibility of believing that this Bible may actually be true and that it is God's word, if you don't have even an ounce of that inside of you, then you'll never come to know God. Now, I'm not saying that it's posts like mine or articles or books or even reading the Bible that's going to save you. I can tell you very clearly that God himself has to make that effort to work in your heart and in your mind and in your life to help you come to know him. So that's why everything that I post is actually posted with a prayer, and even this video has a lot of prayer behind it. So that's a fairly long introduction. Sorry for that, just rambling on. It's about past 12 o'clock in the morning now, so you have to forgive me for that. See, the thing is, the Bible is relevant. The Old Testament, or the Torah, which is the first 5 books, was penned by Moses. And yes, it was particularly required for the Israelites then, who had just been released by God, delivered by God from the hands of the Egyptians. The Israelites were enslaved by the Egyptians for 400 years, and now God had liberated them under the leadership of Moses. Moses led them out. Of course, God had to give them all these laws and regulations, be it in Leviticus or Deuteronomy, because the Israelites really didn't know any better. They had been enslaved for 400 years. How could they know anything? Everything that they ever once were taken from them after they were enslaved. So now God had delivered them, and God, rather than just leaving them alone and letting them be, gave them every single law and every single rule and regulations and everything that Israelites needed to function as a society, as a people group. And God gave them all of that, including the laws and regulations when it came to believing in him and following him and worshiping him. So yes, by today's standards, some of those laws, like relating to oxes and donkeys and, mildew in the house and things like that, may not necessarily apply word for word to our current generation and our current society and the way the world is now. But you know what? If you read those laws, if you read every single one of those laws, and really, rather than looking at it from the face value and saying, oh, this was meant for Israel 3,000 years ago, and it was meant for that group, and it was meant for that people, it was meant for that time frame, and does not mean anything now, you're wrong. Because reading those laws will help you very clearly see that the principles, the reasoning behind the laws is very applicable today. It is in application right now, even as we speak. But you see, the thing is, you have to be willing to see it. If you're not willing to see it, if you're not willing to admit it, then of course all of it will be nonsense and useless and, whatever, archaic and old and irrelevant and whatever else it is. I don't know. I'm not trying to convince anyone here, and I'm not sure who's going to view this video and how many of you are going to care what I have to say, and that's okay. I'm going to keep doing this anyway because I have faith, and I'm not trying to force it on anyone. Christians ought not to be doing that. Unfortunately, there are some Christians who are doing that through very wrong and ungodly means, and I don't stand by that. Any true faithful follower of Jesus Christ will tell you that it is Christ who saves, it is God who saves, not people like me, not Christians. It is God who saves. So I'm not trying to push my beliefs on anyone, but you know what? God is relevant today as he was relevant 2,000-3,000 years ago when he first came to introduce himself to the Israelites. He was relevant then, he is relevant now. The Bible as we know it now is not the Bible that the Israelites had. There was no New Testament then. Jesus had not come down then. So they had the Torah and they had the prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and all these guys then. The same God who spoke to them is Jesus. It is Jesus who's come down, and it was Jesus. Jesus is God. Okay, he's not just the Son of God, he's God himself. So whatever God said to the Israelites then is what Jesus echoes when he comes down, when he came down. It is what Jesus echoed when he came down. It is what we have in the New Testament. There's people who talk about contradictions and stuff like that, which I hope to address one day in a video like this and in a post. But you know what? God is very relevant today. You just have to be willing to read the Bible and to see it, to have an open heart and an open mind and a humble heart and a humble mind to actually to say to yourself, I could be wrong. Though I am very educated and I have all this experience, I could be wrong. You have to approach God and you have to approach the Bible with at least a little bit of an open mind and an open heart and at least a tiny bit of faith. Just because everything cannot be proven by science does not make it wrong, does not make it a fairy tale, does not mean that God doesn't exist. I mean, sure, we can, like I'm breathing in air right now. I can't see it, I can touch it, I can't feel it. Okay, sure, the wind perhaps, but the air itself that I'm breathing in, I'm not a scientist, I haven't proven it, but by faith I believe that. Sure, I may have learned it, but you know what? Thousands of years ago, people were breathing air in. It wasn't like science existed then as we know it now, and people were proving that air existed. They were breathing it in. They believed. It was enough. They didn't even know. But the fact that they didn't know didn't mean that they all stopped breathing and dropped dead. I'm not sure exactly what I'm trying to say there, but what I'm trying to say is, just because you cannot see God and you cannot prove him in a scientific environment or in a scientific setting, just because reasoning and logic does not necessarily fall entirely into place when it comes to God and the Bible, does not make God or the Bible any less relevant or untrue or unimportant. I don't know, I pray that you will read the article and that God himself will open up your mind and your eyes and help you see that the Bible is very relevant today, as much as it was relevant back in the day, and that God is real. I don't know what else to say. Like I said, it's too early in the morning. I might post a better video later on, or just have more videos to support the article, just to add to it. Anyway, God bless you, and enjoy the article and enjoy the video. And again, I pray that God Himself will do what only He can do in your hearts. I am praying for you, whoever you are. God bless you.